So in today's video, I'm gonna tell you how I could have potentially had a guaranteed $100,000 per year in a tax-free zone job to becoming a real estate agent. Now, I want to let you know in this video, I'm gonna keep it real and authentic, telling you my story. I don't want to give you any fluff or lie to make my story sound good or anything like that. I just want to kind of let you guys know why I decided to do real estate and why it's so fulfilling to me. So it all goes back to when I joined the military back in 2019. I had already had a little bit of a life experience. I had went to college for a semester, didn't do too well. I got caught up in partying and doing all this crazy stuff that I kind of just put my grades and school to the side. So I ended up having to leave college and step into the real world. And once I stepped into the real world, I realized how difficult it was to actually build yourself up. And my main goal was to get back into school. So as I was living in the real world, I came to the realization that it was going to be tough for me to save to go back to school, to kind of live life and have money to do things that I want to do while simultaneously working and paying for an apartment. So I ultimately decided to join the military. I needed to get back in school ASAP. So that's what I did. And when I joined the military, it wasn't my plan to do 20 years. That's just not who I am. And I don't downplay people who do 20 years. I actually think it's a great gig with great benefits. If that's something that you want to do, I say go for it because the military has helped a ton of people, people in my family included. It actually helped one of my closest friends, and I actually encouraged him to join the military because of the situation that he was in, and I felt like it would be good for him. So I ended up joining the military with the mindset that, okay, I'm going to go and I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do. But in the meantime, I'm going to go to school. So I did that, got into school for marketing and things of that nature. So about a year and a half later, I was tasked to deploy to an island called Curacao. Now, this was a blessing. It's one of those once in a lifetime deployments. It was on an island in the Caribbean. I stayed there for 6 months. And I remember it was about 3 months into the deployment. I was at work and my mom called me and she was like, "Hey, guess what I did?" I was like, "What's up, mom?" And she was like, "I just signed up for a tax course so I can do taxes professionally." And I was like, "That's amazing." Like that really inspired me in that moment. And at the time, me and my dad was, purchasing tax lien properties in Alabama. And that's a video for another day. But we was purchasing tax liens properties in Alabama, and I was kind of interested in real estate. So after that phone call, I made an impulse decision. And sometimes impulse decisions can be good or it can be bad. I think in this case, it turned out to be good. And I decided to sign up for a real estate course because I wanted to know everything there was to know about real estate. So for the next 3 months while I was deployed, I was completely locked into the course, reading every day, studying every day, just making sure I knew the material so that I was able to pass the course. So at the end of deployment, I passed the course and it was time for me to come back to North Carolina while I was stationed at Seymour Johnson Air Force Base. Once I got back, I completed my state and national portions of the exam. It took me a couple of times to pass that exam, but nonetheless, I passed it and I decided to hang my license at Berkshire Hathaway because I felt like they were the right people to help move me in the right direction because the broker in charge was so engaging and wanted you to learn and know everything and not just knowing the cheap ways of doing things, but actually doing things the right way and effectively. So during that time, I was taking 5 classes. We were actually in 8-hour shifts on base, and I was working swings, which was 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. So there was a lot of time for me to kind of fit everything into my schedule. Granted, I was doing a lot, but I felt like this was my opportunity to actually stick my feet into real estate and do that as in the military. So that's exactly what I did. And during that time, I was able to get a couple of clients who kind of fell through. But then eventually I got this one client and she was a elderly lady and she drove a Challenger and she drove that Challenger like she was a young 20-year-old. I kid you not. She was whipping that thing. And we got all the way to the end of the transaction. It was the day before closing, and she called me and was like, "I don't want to buy this house." And I'm like, "Are you sure?" Like I know we talked about it. You do know that you could lose your due diligence money, and she understood that because the seller was not trying to give her due diligence money back. And I kind of understand it because the process took a little over 30 days. So in that time, the seller could have potentially sold the house, especially during the market when houses were selling within 1 or 2 days. So, they felt like they wanted to be compensated for their time. So she ended up terminating the contract. The seller got the due diligence money. And honestly, I wasn't too upset. The part that upset me was the fact that I tried everything in my power to get her money back. But I just couldn't do that and I felt bad. But all in all, I gained a lot of experience from that situation. So then I was tasked to deploy for a second time to Saudi. So I knew that I couldn't do real estate and be deployed at the same time. So I kind of had to put real estate to the side for a little bit, and I was planning on doing it when I came back. But once I came back from that deployment, we had transitioned back into 12-hour shifts, and I was working mids, which is nights. And so I was working 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. So it was really difficult to try to do real estate and focus on my military duties at the same time. So I decided to put real estate to the side again and just focus on my military duties because it was no way that I could give the client the best experience and the best agent at that time. So, and I'm the type of person who wants to give my clients the best experience, the easiest, smoothest transactions that I could possibly give them. So it wasn't fair to them for me to try to do both. And granted, I was working mid, so I would have been tired because most people are up during the daytime, which means I had to make calls and negotiate during the daytime, which I sleep during those times. So kind of pushed that to the back burner. Couple of months, a year went by, and I had this opportunity to join a mentorship program. And it was a business mentorship program, and it was for a fitness business. And I was a personal trainer, so I was like, okay, let's get my fitness business up and going. So and this is not financial advice. I actually don't recommend this, but I took out a loan to pay for the mentorship program because I wanted it paid. I didn't want to make any payments on that. I would rather just make payments on a loan and build my credit up rather than, you know, paying them monthly, in which if I decided to back out, then I would no longer have that membership. Whereas if I paid it full, then I have that membership for life. But it was during that time that I kind of hit a low point in my life financially because I also had a car payment. So I was paying back this loan while simultaneously paying my car payment and paying my rent and living expenses in that. But as I look back at it, I don't regret doing that at all because I was eventually able to pay back that loan. But the knowledge that I gained from being in that business mentorship program, especially when it comes to how to actually run a business and do sales and marketing and things of that nature, was so valuable that I could take the skills that I learned in that mentorship program and apply it to almost any business that I wanted to in the future. So after that, it was getting time for me to get out the military, and I was kind of feeling uneasy, uncertain because I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I knew I had an opportunity to go overseas and do this contracting job for over 100K a year, tax free at that. So, I mean, who wouldn't want a job that pays 100K in a tax free area? You see what I'm saying? Um, But then I met this girl and I kind of felt like God placed this girl in my life because she was just different than most of the women that I have met in my life. So I really became uncertain and contemplating it because I didn't want to let a girl stop me from doing what I should do. So I was just sitting at my computer one day and just questioning things. So what I did is I just got on my knees and I prayed to God and was basically saying like, I know I can't do this by myself. I'm gonna lean on you and I'm gonna rely on you. Just show me what I should do. And at the time, real estate was the last thing on my mind because I was just thinking about being stable and getting this money. But after I got done praying, God told me to do real estate. And I'm like, why should I do real estate? And he was like, I mean, you work so hard, you got your foot in the door, like you did your course, you actually got a little bit experience, you went through the business mentorship program, so now you have all this skills to go out and be successful quickly. And I'm like, yeah, you right. So I was like, okay, God, I'm just gonna follow you. I'm gonna do this. And God has a funny way of knowing what you really want to do, but it's not just about what I wanted to do. It was his plan for me. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna follow it. And during that time, I had some people in my ear telling me, I don't think that's so smart because you don't know when you're gonna get a sale and things like that, which kind of led me to doubt a little bit. So I called my grandma and I spoke to her about my doubt and my little bit of fear. And she relayed this powerful message to me. And one of the things that she said was, God didn't give you the spirit of fear. And that after that call, I just felt so certain that this was the right thing to do. And all I had to do was elevate my discipline, elevate my work ethic, and have a standard that I live by. If I could do those three things, then I could be successful. Because if you're a motivated, ambitious person that's tried a lot of things, you understand like how intense the feeling of motivation can be, but you know that that motivation can eventually dwindle down. So this time I'm going into things like, okay, I'm motivated, but let's focus on discipline. Let's focus on developing a routine, sticking to that routine. I need to wake up every day like I'm the CEO of a top tier company and conduct myself as so because as being a real estate agent, you are your own business and people expect you to conduct yourself professionally. So even if I didn't feel like it, I would wake up every day and do the same routine. I would dress up as if I'm going out and I would sit behind my computer and get to work. So that's pretty much how I went from potentially having $100,000 job to becoming a real estate agent. I'm really passionate about helping people. I'm passionate about what I'm passionate about, but the main thing of this story is you have to trust God and trust his plan for you. And if you do that while simultaneously putting in the work and staying disciplined, then you're gonna be led to success. Now, with that success, you don't want to be selfish with your success. You want to share that knowledge with other people, but you also want to give back to people in various different ways. And if you can do that, I promise you, you will be successful. So I just want to share you my story of why I became a real estate agent and let you know that it wasn't an easy choice. It wasn't an easy path by any means. It was actually very difficult. It requires you to have a strong faith and a strong mind because a lot of things that happen during the course of becoming a real estate agent or business owner requires you to be relentless and requires effort and requires you to put dedication towards it. So sometimes you might fail, but it's during that failure where you could either quit or you can use that failure as motivation and a learning tool to propel you forward in the future. So, anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please drop a like. Also, share this video with anyone who's thinking about becoming a realtor or just need that additional motivation. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel. I'm going to be posting more real estate tips, more financial tips, more home tours, and anything that's related to real estate or business. I'm going to be posting it on this channel. So be on the lookout for that. Also, if you have any questions, please drop them in the comments. I would love to help you answer those questions. But until the next video, I'll see you.